Everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSi DFS MLB Picks show. I'm your host, MegaRuler31, and I noticed I just got done doing the truck show for Bristol Dirt, and that's why Pigpen's behind me and not my normal background, so please ignore that. But anyways, if you're looking for early slate information, pause the video, go to our channel, and McKinley did a great job breaking that down. That one, I believe, starts at 4:05. I'm going to do the, I believe, 6 or 7 game main slate. We do have some weather with San Diego and Atlanta, so we'll see how many games actually, if that game plays out or not. Probably will, but probably just be an absolute mess. The South, it's our Easter weekend, a lot going on, with the Masters and Bristol racing and Major League Baseball and stuff. And just like the South, it just looked like it's going to be a wet weekend for you. So hopefully you get some nice weather to enjoy if you live down there. So, but anyways, gonna just kind of fly through this slate for you because you probably got a lot going on, and get you on your way to make some picks and be able to make some lineups this evening. So again, check out the early video for McKinley if you're looking for that information. This is the main one. Okay, first game, New York, Baltimore. Put up some runs yesterday. Hitting weather is okay here. It's 52 degrees, so not cold, not hot. Wind blowing in a little bit in Baltimore. Burrito versus Irving. Not interested in Irving. Rough first start. He's got a 13 ERA. Really got touched up by Boston. The wind was blowing out that day, so that helped in it too. But I think Irving will definitely probably do well in Baltimore. They've got some decent pitching coaches down there, some young guys they're working with, but I think it's going to be a while before I'm going to even play him, especially against this Yankee lineup that's primarily right-handed. He's left-handed. Brito, on the other hand, looked good in spring training. I gave up like a lot of hits, but I think he's like maybe more of a pitch to contact hitter, but not like runs out of those hits. And really didn't walk anybody in 3 outings. And the Ks were there too. Put 25 DK points up this first time. He was out 5 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, and had 6 Ks and 1 walk against San Francisco. So, and they can be pesky and they match up well versus you. So I think I'll definitely take some shots on Brito here, especially a GPP, and doesn't make a bad case for an SP2 in cash either. Yankees would be my second favorite stack of the day. And Baltimore, I think, against Brito, if he does, they can get hot, and they definitely have some nice young bats in this lineup. A lot of lefties too they can throw at him, so something to look at there. Next game up, we have St. Louis and Milwaukee, 8.5 total. St. Louis is favored in it by -142. Jordan Montgomery and Eric Lauer. Montgomery, I think it's going to come down to Montgomery or Anderson for LA on the slate today for your SP1. And Morton's mixed in there too, but with the rain in Atlanta, and he just really hasn't had that many Ks. And I'll get to that when I get to the Atlanta breakdown part of it. But just looking at Montgomery, I like the matchups against Milwaukee. Milwaukee does have an offense that could click and could start to explode, but they really haven't. Other than a couple guys like Brian Anderson has been decent, and it's a different lineup too because they're throwing a lot of righties out here because Montgomery is a lefty. So, but Montgomery, I think he moved over from the Yankees and he just became a completely different person in St. Louis and didn't look great in spring training. His first one out, like he did give up 3 earned runs, only had 3 Ks. It was against Toronto. They've got a good lineup. So, but I think against the Brewers here, I think he bounces back, and I think he's a strong play. Again, there's really no expensive pitchers here. There's really no great pitchers here. So, but I think I'll go with Montgomery and cash. I think it's going to be him and Anderson, and I'll get to Anderson in a second. Lauer on the other side, I'm not really looking forward to. Like, he didn't have a bad first outing. He got the win, 5.1 innings pitched, 5 hits allowed, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, 1 home run, 2 walks, 6 Ks. Not a bad day there. It was against the Cubs. Again, it could have been in Wrigley. It was at Chicago, so could have been wind aided some of that things there. But these Cardinals really have a decent young team, and they seem patient. They really don't strike out a lot. So I don't know if there's going to be a lot of K upside for Lauer. So I'm leaving him in the medium range. If you want to play in GPP, definitely play him. But I definitely like St. Louis side of this a little bit better. which I noticed for some reason I didn't put their bats up here. Milwaukee is definitely a decent leverage play, and let's St. Louis here for the stacks for the plays. San Diego and Atlanta, like I said, rain here potentially. Looks like 50% throughout most of the day up until like 8 o'clock. So it just could be just a mess of a game. Wind blowing in at like 16 miles per hour. So it's not going to be great hitting weather, which doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be great pitching weather. But San Diego is like definitely, I don't think they have a super high K rate here, and Morton really hasn't been able to generate a ton of strikeouts. So again, I think he could be in play if the weather does turn better here with the rain, and it's just going to be like cold and 48 with the wind blowing in. So, it could be sneaky. And Waka, the same thing. Like, I don't hate either one. I just, with the weather and these two offenses, I think you have two decent like GPP leverage offenses here that you could look at. Keep in mind, Waka too, when you're looking at your bats, has been neutral to sometimes reverse splits. So I'm fine with like all these righties that the Braves have. So that's why I kind of, I like Lauer a little bit better with him than the weather. But again, the cool weather and the wind blowing in could also aid the pitching. So I think I'm just going to cross this game off. I mean, it's not a big slate. It's not a small slate. It's one of those mediums with 6 to 7 games. But I think that, if you want to take some plays from here, that's fine. Or maybe play both pitchers in a GPP if the weather conditions, and maybe it does turn into a pitching duel, and then you can be different in bats and it works. I mean, I was completely off on Gray yesterday. I'll completely admit that. I looked at the weather, I looked at the start to the season stuff, and I didn't think, and he had a really, really strong game. So had I played as my SP2 with the other cash core I put it out there, probably would have been able to have like a takedown. But even though San Francisco did disappoint a little bit. So I'm out on that game just looking at reading the weather report on that. Dodgers in Arizona, Syndergaard and Zach Davies. Zach Davies I'm not interested in at all. Probably one of the bigger fades on the slate for me, even though he did have a decent first outing against the Dodgers. I just really don't think that he had 4 Ks. He gave up 1 home run, 1 earned run in 5 innings. So maybe he could be sneaky contrarian and not a complete fade. So maybe you can put him over here in the low owned in a GPP. But I think this Dodger stack, they have a 5.20 implied run total. It's in Arizona. They've been having the roof open most of the week. It's been warm out there. So I just like the Dodgers as the top stack. I just think that they get to them. Zach Davies has been neutral to almost reverse splits too. So righties or lefties should be fine versus him. And I'm going to be attacking him. But in GPPs, like if you think that Zach Davies, like already facing the Dodgers is and looking decent against them and limiting damage. But I believe it was a cooler night out in LA. The conditions were a little bit different. But GPP, SP2, why not? 69, not a bad price. Arizona, I'll be stacking them in my everyday stack on FanDuel where I can do them with Cleveland as I've been doing. But I don't think I'll be playing many of them here against Syndergaard. Syndergaard's not the guy that has the velocity that he used to when he was a Met, but he has been decent in pitching. He gets guys out. He faced them also. Same thing. 21 DK points, which is great. He went 6 innings, so like he has the depth. He did it in 78 pitches, so he did it efficiently. 6 Ks, 1 earned run, 4 hits allowed. So I really like him as like an SP2 candidate. Or if you want to try to get some expensive bats in and in a GPP, then maybe go Brito and Syndergaard, and then that opens up a lot of salary for you. Coors Field here, 62 degrees. So like we finally saw some runs yesterday, but the wind's blowing in 10 miles per hour. That's not too bad. Just keep an eye on it. Maybe it switches and turns and moves out. then that could definitely change things. But you have two pitchers that really can struggle. Like Williams, I think will have some potential this year with Washington. He went 5 innings, but he gave up like 3 earned runs and 2 home runs. Only had 3 Ks on 93 pitches against Tampa Bay, who's been a pretty solid offense this year. So maybe it's a bad matchup. But the Rockies in Coors, I think they'll definitely put up some runs against him. And Austin Gomber, like I really like this guy. Like it was like 2 or 3 years ago, like he absolutely shut down the Dodgers in Coors, and has had some good road games and stuff, but he just can't put it together overall. So first start was pretty rocky, which not kind of not trying to say that ironically or not, but he did make it 6 innings, but he ended up giving up 3 earned runs on 2 home runs, had 4 Ks against San Diego, and it was at San Diego. It wasn't in Coors. So really not interested in either of those pitchers. So I'm just putting them on the fade list for today. And for the offenses, I would definitely like the Colorado offense, probably the best. And I think that I like the Yankees and the Dodgers a little bit more, but I think that it would against their pitching and like the hitting conditions there. But I think Washington's definitely in play for a GPP, and these guys tend to be pretty cheap. Actually, looking at their pricing here, let's make sure I have DraftKings and not FanDuel up. 3.7, 3, like these guys, like the highest one is like Mensis at like 4.5. They're priced for Coors, so they obviously we need to put them right here as a decent like cheap stack for you. So definitely some fill in plays that you can take from there, especially if you want to pay out for 2 pitchers. If you can't pick between Montgomery and Anderson, who I'm going to get to, maybe you can play both of them and then throw in some Washington guys with your Dodgers stack or Yankee stack or stack Coors Field, and that might be something nice to work out for you too. Finally, here we have the Toronto Blue Jays and the Angels. Just looks like a really good matchup here. The Angels are doing better this year. Maybe this is the year that they make the playoffs and they're able to keep Ohtani and everything. And we'll see. Rendon should be back in the lineup after his suspension. So we have Berrios and we have Tyler Anderson. So Anderson here, again, he pitched really well his first time out, had 21 points, but it was against Oakland. So, that might be the matchup. He went 6 innings, which is great. Let him go 93 pitches. So it doesn't look like there's any, it looks like he's getting stretched out and ready to go. Only 4 hits allowed, no earned runs, no home runs, only had 4 Ks, couple of walks. So good day at the office there, definitely for him. Tougher matchup here. That's why I said like Montgomery a little bit better, but I think that there's definitely a case you can make for Anderson. Berrios on the other end, he didn't have a great spring and he got absolutely rocked by Kansas City. 4.2, or actually he made it 5.5 innings. He only scored 4.2 fantasy points. He had 9 hits, allowed 8 runs, 8 of them were earned, 2 walks, and he did have 7 Ks there. So he's got some work to do here. And this Angels lineup, I think, is definitely starting to come together pretty nicely. Ward, Trout, Ohtani, Rendon back in there. Renfroe is decent, but then even down in the lineup, you have Drury, who's decent. Logan Ohope is probably going to have the primarily catcher duty now. He was DHing with another catcher, but that catcher got hurt. Angels are getting really thin at catcher here, so probably not too much of a pinch hit risk for you either. And I think it's something to really look forward to. The guy's got some power. I really like him also, and I think he's got a little bit of speed too. So something decent there. So I like the Angels here. And I think to Toronto against Anderson definitely makes a decent GPP or maybe even a leverage stack. So look at these builds quick. I'll get you on the way for your weekend. It says McKinley's core, but this is actually my cash core here. We'll fill out the sheet permanently later on. But for cash here on the left-hand side where it says McKinley 412 core on the upper left of your screen. Montgomery, I'll probably play Brito or Syndergaard as my SP2. Catcher, if I can get up to Will Smith if he's back in, or another Dodger catcher, maybe put him in the stack. But I really want Freeman. I want Drury. Third base, I'll have to determine if I can make it up to Rendon, or if I want to put like Taylor in there. Works. Low, I think, I want to kind of do like a wraparound there. He's a decent value. If he's not in or something, then Taylor, I think, is third base or shortstop eligible for the Dodgers. Bets. Haywood has actually had an amazing season to start out with. If you've looked, like, he had a kind of a down game last game, but the two before that, he's been decent, hitting some home runs and everything at the bottom of that lineup, and Outman. So I think, you don't have to get all the studs from the Dodgers in. I think you can do a nice wraparound stack, and there's enough talent there against this Arizona team and bullpen that you can make a really nice balanced lineup, and throw in some Angels will be the I Love LA line. And hopefully that will bring you some cash tonight. On the GPP side of it, Brito, I'm going to take. Again, you can match him with Syndergaard or another SP2 there. And then I am taking Colorado, and then I'm taking the Yankees here. So Cron, Torres, Cabrera's there because Donaldson's out, so that's a cheap third baseman. Shortstop, just have to see who fits in for you there. Then I want Bryant, Judge, or Stanton. I've never been able to spell, but either one, if you get both of them in there, that's fine. Profar, I think, might be leading off for Colorado again. I love how he's shortstop eligible on FanDuel, but he's a cheap outfield guy here that would be decent. So FanDuel, I'm taking Montgomery, Freeman, or Smith, whoever you can fit in. If you can fit the other one in your utility, that's great. Drury, Rendon, shortstop. Have to see what fits there. If you can find a Dodger or Angel that fits in. If not, then take a one-off. Bets, Trout or Ohtani, or both if you can. You probably can't get like Freeman and Smith in, so just like whatever combination of those guys. If some of them are out of the lineup, then that gives you a couple things there. But pretty much building with both LA teams again. And then for FanDuel GPP, I'm taking Burrito. I have Cron, Profar, and Bryant from the Rockies, and Torres, Stanton, and Judge from the Yankees. And Cabrera would be another third baseman to fill in there, if or take a one-off that you like, because you do have the Yankees pitcher, you're going to have to take a one-off someplace. So either the utility, the other outfield, or third base is where you'd have to do that. So appreciate you watching as always. Hope everyone has a safe weekend. If you have any questions, put them in the chat below. Hit me up at MegaRuler31 on Twitter. If the videos help you, please like, subscribe to our channel, share with your friends. And if there's any changes in weather updates, pictures, or anything like that, I'll try to throw out some notes about half an hour before lock. So, check back to the video if you have any concerns. Check and see like the questions people ask. People have asked really good questions, and you can try to help them. Their questions might be your questions, so then you don't have to ask them. You just read our responses there. So thanks again for watching. Really appreciate it. Hope everybody has a safe weekend, and we'll see you next